Have you ever questioned whether the person you're seeing is seeing other people? Trust is crucial. In certain actions might cast doubt on a relationship and provide hints about the motivations or degree of understanding. These subtle signals of commitment doesn't mean making snap judgments. It involves examining patterns with a calm, stoic and logical perspective. In today's video, we'll reveal 11 hidden indicators that she might be experiencing emotional overreaction. Several partners. These are real-world findings rather than irrational beliefs that enable you to evaluate the circumstance with knowledge and clarity, as Stoicism teaches us to concentrate solely on the things we can control, such as our responses, limits, and decisions. And being able to recognize these indicators will enable you to make choices that promote your well-being and peace of mind. Before we begin, I would like to know if you have ever observed warning signs in share your experiences in a relationship that you subsequently discovered was important. If you like content that combines Stoic wisdom with contemporary ideas, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. In order to avoid missing out on future partnerships, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Let's go in and find out about 11 crucial indicators you should be aware of. One of the earliest and most obvious indicators that she might have is her inconsistent communication. She communicates inconsistently with several partners. When someone is truly devoted to a partnership, that they often keep consistent and trustworthy conversation. However, if you observe a lot of pauses in responses or a change in her availability, which can suggest that she is dividing her attention. Although this discrepancy doesn't always indicate dishonesty on her part, it's an indication that she may be purposefully balancing several relationships, or inadvertently, for example. You can encounter times when she is completely present, responding promptly, and participating in having deep discussions and demonstrating excitement, only for her to abruptly withdraw or get aloof if you're curious about the reasons behind her erratic communication styles. So much that it's worthwhile to watch this behavior with composure and reason, because Stoicism tells us not to jump. Draw sentimental inferences, but see the warning sign for what it is. A lack of uncertainty frequently coexists with poor communication, so you'll notice that she doesn't provide details about her whereabouts, the reasons behind her unavailability, or when you may expect to hear from her again. Recurring themes with little variation include comments like, "I've been busy," or "Things are just hectic right now." Explanation during a time when everyone is busy and there is constant uncertainty mixed with disappearing acts can indicate that she is putting other people's time first. The tone of her speech contains a subtle hint that when someone has several partners, they frequently become less. Conversations between people who are deeply invested in a single relationship may seem hurried or superficial, missing the depth and reliability of someone who genuinely wishes to establish a connection. If you discover that just occasionally gets in touch, or only when it's convenient for her, it could mean that she's handling several relationships while ultimately avoiding more intense emotional engagement. Unreliable communication is a blatant indication that anything might be amiss, while it's crucial to remember that Stoicism helps us to recognize patterns in a calm and reasonable manner without letting feelings to influence our assessment of whether her communication is unclear or lacking depth. Use it as a chance to assess the partnership and make a decision. Regardless of whether it fits with your expectations and ideals, trust is based on consistency, and without it any relationship's basis can be swiftly destroyed by her ideas, which are often hazy or last-minute. Her propensity to keep plans is a clear indication that she might be seeing more than one partner. When someone is truly involved in a relationship, don't be evasive or make last-minute arrangements. They are deliberate about planning and place a high value on spending time together. Ahead, but if her intentions with you are often unclear or appear to be an after giving it some thinking, it could mean that she is divided between, say, you may observe that she doesn't commit to certain dates or occasions, thus she could say something like, "I'll let you know later," or "Let's see how the week goes." These evasive answers may appear innocuous at first, but if they start to appear frequently, it may indicate she's preserving her choices. When someone is juggling several relationships, can be reluctant to commit to plans because they want the flexibility to accommodate other. Her propensity to contact people at the last minute is another indication of her priorities. Even though impromptu plans might occasionally be enjoyable, you won't hear from her much unless it's convenient. Like late at this behavior can be a warning sign at night, or when other plans don't work out. That rather than making time for you a priority, she might be putting you on her schedule as a fallback. May also see that her preparations are shallow or unstructured, and if your time together frequently seems hurried or unplanned, it could be an indication that she is balancing obligations with others. For instance, she may regularly postpone or alter plans. Very little warning and making cliched or inconsistent reasons. Even though life can be, everyone finds the pattern of hazy and disjointed plans to be unpredictable. Should not be disregarded in conclusion, since hazy and hurried plans frequently indicate a lack of emotional commitment, and obvious relationships are built on work, intentionality, and respect for one another's time. Stoicism serves as a reminder to observe such actions with composure and avoid letting anger or overanalyzing cloud our judgment if her plans appear. If you're unsure or feel like an afterthought, take a moment to consider whether this relationship is right for you. Corresponds with the amount of time and effort you are prepared to devote to acknowledging your value, and you may preserve control and clarity by establishing boundaries which she protects. Her overuse of social media and phone is one of the more obvious. She may have several lovers, as evidenced by her extreme secrecy when everyone cherishes privacy, but when it comes to her phone or social media, there's a thin line separating appropriate boundaries from actions that could indicate off if she avoids being transparent or is unduly possessive of her gadgets. Internet activities. It can be a warning sign that she's concealing relationships, or, for example, you may observe relationships she doesn't want you to see. When you walk in the door, she swiftly locks her phone, which she always keeps face down. Feels obviously uneasy if you look at her screen, even if wanting privacy these days is rather typical. When actions seem purposeful or over the top, they frequently stick out. She abruptly moves aside to answer calls or sends frequent texts, but she declines to clarify who she is speaking to, which could suggest that she is controlling how she communicates with other people. Can offer further hints on social media, such as her online presence doesn't accurately represent your connection, like never sharing photos of you, rarely commenting on your posts, or being reticent about who she communicates with, could indicate that she's keeping her choices open. If she's constantly online, but it takes hours or days for them to reply to your messages, which adds inquiries regarding her true focus of attention, another indication is her defensiveness when you pose a straightforward query, such as, "Who were you speaking to?" or "What made you?" Her reaction seems quite defensive or evasive, and she just smiled. Imply that she is hiding anything from someone in a good connection. Typically don't mind being open, even if they frequently value their privacy, secrecy, and defensiveness. Appear when someone is afraid of being found. It's crucial to handle this circumstance calmly and sensibly. Attitude that Stoicism teaches. Refrain from making snap judgments or responding emotionally. Instead, Pay attention to the trust ought to be the cornerstone of any relationship, especially when there is a gap, when someone is overly protective of their phone and social media or behaves secretive all the time. In conclusion, privacy is crucial in any good relationship, but trust is also important. Excessive phone and social media secrecy may be an indication of more serious problems. Take note of her behavior as well as her words, and handle the matter with composure and clarity. If, when you observe persistent actions that compromise openness, it's a chance to take a step back and talk. Your worries, assess if the partnership fits with your values and expectations. Keep in mind that transparency and honesty foster trust. When someone is emotionally invested in a relationship, she avoids having in-depth conversations and is emotionally aloof. They naturally look for more in-depth discussions to express their feelings and dreams, but if she avoids important conversations or appears emotionally aloof, it can indicate that she is emotionally distant and divided in her focus and energy. Frequently occurs when someone tries to keep up superficial ties with several people. One of the first signs is avoiding the intimacy that accompanies greater emotional connection. Of emotional distance is her propensity to direct discussions towards superficial or inconsequential subjects, such as small talk or everyday conversations activities, but refrain from discussing feelings, aspirations, or relationships. Anticipations. If you attempt to bring up a significant topic, such as inquiring about her past, dreams, or ideas about she may cut off communication, divert attention, or alter the topic. Because she is limiting her options, this avoidance behavior may indicate that she is apprehensive to make a significant investment. A lack of emotional connection and openness is another warning sign. Necessitates being open to sharing personal anxieties, hopes, and experiences. It may indicate that she is protecting herself if she keeps things hidden and rarely allows you in. Should keep your distance, for example. When you discuss something private with her, she might react indifferently or fail to return the favor, which reflects her own hesitancy to establish a connection. Emotional detachment, which frequently indicates a lack of sincere commitment, can also seem as a lack of interest in your life. Someone who genuinely cares about you will inquire in order to learn more. Your ideas and interact with your objectives and emotions. If she doesn't follow up on items you've discussed or doesn't appear interested in getting to know you more, it could be due of her emotional energy is dispersed over several relationships. In addition to emotional distance frequently results in erratic behavior. On some days, she may appear involved and loving to some, yet she may be aloof or reclusive to others. This emotional swing may cause you to feel perplexed and unsure about. People who manage several partners frequently suffer, depending on where you are in her life. To keep their emotional availability constant, since they're dividing their focus between many individuals, conclude that emotional remoteness and an unwillingness to participate in deep talks are important indicators that she could not be totally dedicated or centered on you alone, whereas Stoicism instructs us on how to handle such circumstances. It's critical to identify these trends with composed attention and self-control, and consider whether this satisfies your emotional requirements. Sincere relationships flourish without honesty, trust, and vulnerability. A relationship runs the risk of failing. Superficial and unsatisfying, she regularly postpones or cancels appointments, which is one of her propensity to repeatedly cancel and postpone is one of the most obvious indicators that she might be juggling many relationships. Or abruptly cancel plans when everyone is dealing with unforeseen schedule adjustments, or a history of cancellations without a good explanation may suggest that you are not her priority. This conduct frequently indicates that she is dividing her time between other obligations, perhaps even other relationships. Initially, her justifications for cancelling could seem sensible, because she's either busy or something has come up. Feeling well, But when these justifications begin to recur and interfere, your capacity to spend quality time with her develops into a pattern worth noticing, such as if she regularly cancels appointments but appears to find time for other persons or activities. This could be another indication that her focus is diverted elsewhere is the way she responds after cancelled, if she doesn't quickly offer a new date to make it up to you, or if she doesn't express much regret, can indicate that someone who genuinely values the connection is not investing enough in it. Making time will be a priority in their relationship with you, and they will feel obligated to comply. Fulfill their obligations, and repeated last-minute cancellations frequently accompany inconsistent or ambiguous explanations, such as work one week and work the next. Although the specifics never quite add up, this trend can be a family concern every week, leave you feeling angry and unsure of your place in her life. Stoicism encourages us to pay attention. Acting composedly and sensibly, these discrepancies shouldn't be disregarded as they frequently disclose hidden realities about her priorities. Thus, rescheduling is. Another subtle behavior to observe is the constant pushing of plans, which may appear to be an attempt to make time for you. Back could indicate that she's having trouble juggling several commitments if her schedule consistently seems erratic or your time together seems like an afterthought. It's important to consider if she's truly involved in establishing a steady relationship with you, but there are a lot of cancellations and reschedulings. Plans frequently indicate a lack of emotional commitment and conflicting priorities, yet reality can be. This behavior's erratic, regular patterns imply that she might be juggling several relationships or obligations, as Stoicism advises us to concentrate on the things you can manage with your time and energy. Set boundaries. If you see that your priorities are being diminished, it's crucial to consider whether the connection fits your values and expectations. The foundation of any real connection is constancy in time and effort, because a relationship cannot flourish without it. Her details and anecdotes don't consistently add up. One of the more subdued but informative indicators that she might have several partners is when her accounts and specifics don't exactly match contradictory justifications, or inconsistencies in her statements may indicate that she is balancing several relationships and finding it difficult to keep track of the story she's telling, even though everyone occasionally forgets small details. Inconsistencies frequently indicate deeper issues. For instance, she might say she's going somewhere with friends one day, but after give you a somewhat different account later on. She might claim that she was preoccupied with work, but her social media or casual remarks imply differently. Therefore, these minor discrepancies could appear first innocuous, but gradually they start to develop a pattern that prompts concerns when her words and some don't. Therefore, it's important to keep an eye on another clue that's ambiguous. Answers to your follow-up questions, if she dismisses them with remarks like, "Oh, I don't." It may be a strategy to avoid getting into specifics, so keep it in mind or disregard it. That could reveal contradictions. Someone who has nothing to conceal will usually give obvious, simple responses, whereas a person overseeing several links can become G-ed or dismissive, and when someone is concealing something, their justifications may feel prepared or too detailed if she seems to provide more details than are required, or if her narrative slightly alters. She might be attempting to hide any ambiguities or gaps in her story each time she says it. Activities. These instances are faint but discernible if you pay attention and calm, because Stoicism helps her to concentrate on her habits rather than her reactions. When there are emotional inconsistencies, you could also observe avoidance behaviors. Occur, for example, if you bring up a point that conflicts with something she previously stated. She might rapidly shift the matter or get defensive. This response is frequently caused by uneasiness and a fear of being exposed as dishonest. While those with divided attention prefer to avoid addressing misconceptions, sincere people are typically willing to do so. In summary, when her story's elements don't add up, it's frequently a warning sign that her focus is divided, yet it's better to approach the matter with cool observation instead. These discrepancies should not be disregarded, as the Stoics remind us that trust is about focusing on what you can control, like your response and limits, founded on openness and truthfulness. If such are absent, it might be time to check to see if the connection fits your ideals and emotional needs. She doesn't disclose one of the most obvious indicators that anything might be wrong in your connection, whether it be with friends or family, is her unwillingness to introduce you to her family or close friends when someone is sincere. They genuinely want to incorporate you into their lives since they have faith in you and see the future, which includes introducing. If she consistently skips this step, it could lead you to their inner circle show that she's maintaining several relationships or keeping her options open at the beginning of any. It's common to wait before incorporating friends or family in a relationship, but introductions eventually develop into a logical next step in a committed relationship. If you have to wonder why she would be keeping you apart from her social circle after months have gone by, purposefully avoiding circumstances that could reveal additional details about her life, such as the potential for, if she is discreet about her prior relationships, that's another warning sign. Buddies, for instance, when you inquire about the individuals she spends time with, you may observe that she spends time answering questions incoherently or refraining from mentioning names. Having friends but never being asked to join or meet them can show that she's attempting to compartmentalize her life so that you can't see her in her whole. Hobbies or relationships, observe her reaction when you propose to meet her family members or friends. Whether she will probably be thrilled for you to meet the people who are important to her if she is truly invested in the relationship. But if she frequently offers justifications like, they're too busy, or it's not the appropriate moment, but this hesitancy can indicate that she's avoiding being transparent because she fears bringing you in will either make things more difficult or expose inconsistencies in her account. Her actions in public can also give you hints if you're out with her, and she avoids introducing you to individuals she knows might be interested in you or is reluctant to acknowledge you in social situations. Her unwillingness to let you into her world could be a sign that she's not totally committed to the relationship. Juggling several relationships and fearing discovery at the end, avoiding friend or family introductions is frequently a serious warning indication. However, there may be private explanations. It's critical to pay attention to this behavior, such as past trauma or insecurities. If it's a component of a wider pattern of secrecy, as Stoicism instructs us to concentrate on the actions you can see with objectivity and don't disregard your gut feeling for a good, sincere relationship. Thrives on integration and openness rather than comparison thinking. If she's maintaining, you use it as a chance to reconsider whether the relationship with Rel is in line with your ideals, and her social media presence doesn't support your long-term objectives. In the current digital era, relationships are frequently reflected on social media. Presents herself to the public. If her social media activity doesn't match your relationship, it can indicate that she's keeping up several relationships or putting on a front if she leaves you out, even though everyone has the right to privacy and there are obvious patterns of secrecy. Or misalignment should not be disregarded. For example, if she uses social media, publishing updates, taking pictures, and interacting with people, but there's no evidence of you, it can be that she's purposefully excluding you, because not everyone feels comfortable disclosing their relationships on the internet. Someone whose sincere lovers typically involve their spouse in some way, whether it's through sporadic posts, tags, or says she's not seeing you at all. which could indicate she's keeping her options open. The character of her online connections is another warning sign. If she regularly interacts with other males who enjoy their postings, may leave flirtatious comments, or reciprocate without ever recognizing your presence, it calls into question how dedicated she is to social media. Boundaries can frequently be blurred in encounters, and if you think her online behavior is contradictory with her statements, it's important to discuss her attire and observe her behavior when you bring her up. If she gets defensive or dismissive about her social media usage, saying things like, "It's just social media," don't take taking things seriously while yet limiting or concealing what you can see. Can indicate that she is protecting something. That openness in a relationship doesn't imply that you must have complete access to her internet life, but it also implies that you should have faith that she is being truthful. With another thing to observe is how she presents her lifestyle on the internet. If she's portraying oneself as single by avoiding any reference to a partner, or by sharing images or captions that imply she is single. Relationship. It's important to think about why people who oversee several partners frequently curate their online persona to continue being accessible to others, which causes a gap between their virtual lives and the actual world. Conclusion of your relationship. If her social media activity doesn't match your connection, it's a chance to stop and consider what Stoicism teaches us. Since social media isn't always an accurate representation of reality, handle these situations coolly and logically. It frequently exposes hidden realities about a person's goals and priorities through her online behavior, raises questions or seems erratic. It's crucial to consider whether the partnership is in line with your ideals and expectations of openness and trust. She vanishes for extended periods of time without providing one of the most obvious, and her propensity to vanish for extended periods of time are the most alarming indications that she might be seeing more than one guy. Moments in a healthy partnership without providing a clear explanation. It is normal to have regular communication and responsibility. When someone often stops talking or gets unreasonably inaccessible, it frequently prompts inquiries about where their time and focus are actually being. Her disappearances may initially appear to be innocent, and she may say that she is busy, while everyone has hectic days, whether it's with job or personal matters. When someone needs space, there is a regular pattern of silence, followed by ambiguous red flags arise. For instance, if she goes days without providing an explanation. Replying to your calls or messages and then showing up again without explaining why she was absent, it appears she's avoiding. Another sign of transparency is how she behaves upon her return, whether she is aloof, evasive, or too casual about her disappearance may indicate that she is dividing her time and focus. Expressions like, "I had a lot going on," or "I just needed some time," without going any further. Clarity frequently acts as a stand-in for more in-depth discussions, while honoring someone's space is necessary. And over time, an unexplained absence can damage confidence. These disappearances may also correlate with suspicious conduct. For example, she can abruptly start to guard her schedule or refuse to provide information about her location if you observe trends, like her being inaccessible on the weekends. She may be prioritizing someone else on holidays or specific evenings, as seen by her avoidance of details, could be an effort to oversee several connections covertly, so it's crucial to approach with a stoic attitude. Observe this behavior calmly and fight the want to overreact emotionally, rather of making snap judgments. Try to find consistency in her behavior over time. Communication is the foundation of trust, and when someone consistently vanishes without cause, it generates accountability, uncertainty, and hinders the development of a strong emotional bond. In conclusion, that vanishes for extended periods of time without explanation is frequently an indication of conflicting priorities, a lack of openness, and sporadic distance. Consistent absences and imprecise reasoning are normal and valuable. Addressing stoicism serves as a reminder to concentrate on our controllable responses, boundaries, and our dignity. If her actions keep undermining our confidence, it's crucial to consider whether the partnership fits with your ideals and standards for integrity and constancy. You observe a lack of sincere interest in the partnership. One of her lack of sincere interest in the relationship is one of the most obvious signs that she might be seeing more than one partner. Connection, someone who genuinely cares about you, will put forth effort, her eagerness to establish the relationship, yet when her actions feels minimally or inconsistently detached, which may indicate that her emotions, and there is frequently a lack of investment since mental energy is divided among several relationships, occurs when she makes an effort, or doesn't, if you're the one who always. Starting a chat about goals or asking how she's doing could be an indication that she doesn't value you. Mutually beneficial relationships endeavor in which both partners actively participate in communicating, spending time together, and strengthening their relationship. You may feel as though you are carrying the relationship alone when she is uninterested or uncaring. If she avoids talking about it, it's a warning sign of her emotional availability. Relevant subjects like your shared objectives or feelings for your future together implies that she might not view the relationship as lasting. For instance, she would avoid questioning about exclusivity or use ambiguous phrases like, "let's see where this goes." Goes while taking things slowly is totally acceptable. A persistent hesitancy to investing emotionally could also mean that she isn't solely focused on you. Observe the amount of work she does to comprehend you. She is a woman who is sincerely curious about you, will remember specifics about your life, ask questions, and express interest in your objectives and dreams. If she doesn't seem interested in getting to know you or doesn't often follow up on what you've discussed on deeper down, it indicates emotional detachment in those who are balancing. Many times, people in many relationships lack the time and energy to develop deeper bonds. Relationships with any one individual, her deeds frequently speak louder than words. Words, if she claims to care about you but doesn't consistently demonstrate it, support or presence, there is a glaring discrepancy. For example, she might consent to spend time with you, but often cancels or appears preoccupied when you're combined. This lack of action shows how committed she is to the relationship. In summary, a lack of sincere investment is a clear indication that even though she may not be fully focused on music, partnerships are based on mutual effort, emotional depth, and steady behavior, and in the absence of such components, trust and link suffer. Stoicism serves as a reminder to view these actions with objectivity, and if you feel unloved or undervalued, don't settle for less than you deserve. Consider whether this connection fits your needs and principles from a distance. A partner who is genuinely invested would make an attempt to maintain the relationship rather than leaving you wondering about their motivations when her conduct shifts. Suddenly and without cause, one of the most obvious indicators that she might have abrupt and inexplicable behavioral changes in her when someone is managing several partners. Another sign of transparency is how she behaves upon her return, whether she is aloof, evasive, or too casual about her disappearance may indicate that she is dividing her time and focus. Expressions like, "I had a lot going on," or "I just needed some time," without going any further. Clarity frequently acts as a stand-in for more in-depth discussions, while honoring someone's space is necessary. And over time, an unexplained absence can damage confidence. These disappearances may also correlate with suspicious conduct. For example, she can abruptly start to guard her schedule or refuse to provide information about her location if you observe trends, like her being inaccessible on the weekends. She may be prioritizing someone else on holidays or specific evenings, as seen by her avoidance of details, could be an effort to oversee several connections covertly, so it's crucial to approach with a stoic attitude. Observe this behavior calmly and fight the want to overreact emotionally, rather of making snap judgments. Try to find consistency in her behavior over time. Communication is the foundation of trust, and when someone consistently vanishes without cause, it generates accountability, uncertainty, and hinders the development of a strong emotional bond. In conclusion, that vanishes for extended periods of time without explanation is frequently an indication of conflicting priorities, a lack of openness, and sporadic distance. Consistent absences and imprecise reasoning are normal and valuable. Addressing Stoicism serves as a reminder to concentrate on our controllable responses, boundaries, and our dignity. If her actions keep undermining our confidence, it's crucial to consider whether the partnership fits with your ideals and standards for integrity and constancy. You observe a lack of sincere interest in the partnership. One of her lack of sincere interest in the relationship is one of the most obvious signs that she might be seeing more than one partner. Connection, someone who genuinely cares about you, will put forth effort, her eagerness to establish the relationship, yet when her actions feels minimally or inconsistently detached, which may indicate that her emotions, and there is frequently a lack of investment since mental energy is divided among several relationships, occurs when she makes an effort, or doesn't, if you're the one who always. Starting a chat about goals or asking how she's doing could be an indication that she doesn't value you. Mutually beneficial relationships endeavor in which both partners actively participate in communicating, spending time together, and strengthening their relationship. You may feel as though you are carrying the relationship alone when she is uninterested or uncaring. If she avoids talking about it, it's a warning sign of her emotional availability. Relevant subjects like your shared objectives or feelings for your future together implies that she might not view the relationship as lasting. For instance, she would avoid questioning about exclusivity or use ambiguous phrases like, "let's see where this goes." Goes while taking things slowly is totally acceptable. A persistent hesitancy to investing emotionally could also mean that she isn't solely focused on you. Observe the amount of work she does to comprehend you. She is a woman who is sincerely curious about you, will remember specifics about your life, ask questions, and express interest in your objectives and dreams. If she doesn't seem interested in getting to know you or doesn't often follow up on what you've discussed on deeper down, it indicates emotional detachment in those who are balancing. Many times, people in many relationships lack the time and energy to develop deeper bonds. Relationships with any one individual, her deeds frequently speak louder than words. Words, if she claims to care about you but doesn't consistently demonstrate it, support or presence, there is a glaring discrepancy. For example, she might consent to spend time with you, but often cancels or appears preoccupied when you're combined. This lack of action shows how committed she is to the relationship. In summary, a lack of sincere investment is a clear indication that even though she may not be fully focused on music, partnerships are based on mutual effort, emotional depth, and steady behavior, and in the absence of such components, trust and link suffer. Stoicism serves as a reminder to view these actions with objectivity, and if you feel unloved or undervalued, don't settle for less than you deserve. Consider whether this connection fits your needs and principles from a distance. A partner who is genuinely invested would make an attempt to maintain the relationship rather than leaving you wondering about their motivations when her conduct shifts. Suddenly and without cause, One of the most obvious indicators that she might have abrupt and inexplicable behavioral changes in her when someone is managing several partners